the audience that came to that fair, because it was really a strong collector base, and people were very interested and knowledgeable about prints, and I had great conversations. But I had always wanted to come back to Baltimore, so I'm thrilled with the prospect of coming.
Hey, Jonathan, it's great to see you. So glad you guys are coming to Baltimore. Can you, for our guests, tell us a little bit about you and about the press?
Yes, I am excited to come to Baltimore. I'm the owner, founder, master printer, and everything else of Manneken Press, which is a fine art publishing press in Bloomington, Illinois, which I started in 2000, along with my wife, Sarah Smolser, who's also an artist. And so we started off small, and we've been growing slowly over the years. And I invite several artists per year to come into the studio to work with me, print projects. What I usually do is I've had a history of doing a print project with an artist, then coming back a few years later and doing more. So I kind of have tried to build a body of work with the artists. We're publishers, so that means all the work originates here, and it's generally only available here. And generally, I work with usually etching, relief sometimes, and monotype, monoprint other times.
No screen print, no litho.
No, I have never really done screen print, and I love lithography, but I'm not set up for that. I've never had a litho press. There are some lithographs on the Manneken Press website, which have been done elsewhere. And it's mostly my personal work too. I'm also an artist, which is how my journey in printmaking and print publishing started, with my own interest as an artist in printmaking.
Where did you learn how to print make? In college?
In college, I was a ceramics major actually, and I took a lithography class in my junior year, I think, and I just got completely hooked. And I made the leap into from 3D to 2D. And then I had an apprenticeship printing for an artist in the San Francisco Bay Area, and then later went to grad school at NYU for printmaking. The reason that I went there, I was attracted by the fact that they had Krishna Reddy heading up the program at that time. And he's unfortunately passed away since then. There's a guy actually who was in my class at the time, Mark Johnson, who runs the program now. And yeah, it's a nice studio. I would say during my time there that, yeah, there was like a bunch of weird political stuff, and they were trying to figure out a direction for the entire department, for the art department. But I think it's gotten much better since then.
But your attraction to the program because of Krishna Reddy. How did you even know Krishna Reddy was a thing? And might I say, because I'm a hater person, all roads lead back to hater.
Yes. Well, I discovered that after, working with Krishna. I had grown up in the Bay Area and gone to college in California. So there's a place in Berkeley, where I am from originally, called the Kala Art Institute, which is a kind of a large printmaking facility. It's actually more than just printmaking now. They're still going. I think they had their 50th anniversary some in the last 5 or 6 years or something. But the woman started that. There's a guy, Nakano, can't remember his last name, and then Archana Horsting. The two of them had gone to Paris in I want to say the late 60s, early 70s, and studied at Atelier 17. And they came back and started Kala Art Institute sort of on a model. They were inspired by Atelier 17. And so Archana, I think she was probably the one that sort of told me about Krishna, and I think that's how I first heard about him. But he seemed like, yes, someone whose work I was interested in, and I was also interested in moving to New York. So.
Well, there's that, right? But you have double lines back to hater through undergrad and grad.
Yeah, I'd say so. We talk about Hayter, and he would show engraving, and his thrust was teaching and talking about color viscosity printing. So the heritage, yeah, of TLA-17 and haters is in there. I don't do viscosity printing anymore. I'm not set up to do that, and I'm not sure as a print publisher. I'm not sure if artists would be interested in working in that realm. At least the artists that I'm kind of interested in working with. So,
Fair enough. So tell me what you're bringing with you to Baltimore.
so I'm excited about this in particular because during COVID, I was not able to, go to any art fairs. Typically, what I do is I'll have two or three projects with artists that happen during the year, and then I'll bring that work to an art fair or usually two art fairs a year, and I'll show the new work that's been produced. That's what I highlight. At an art fair, 2019 was the last one I did, Expo Chicago. And then they're just, or the EAB fair that year too, 2019. And then there were 2 years with nothing. And I was still producing work. I was not able to have artists come into the studio, but I was doing remote projects. So I worked out ways with artists that I had previously worked with, and we felt familiar with each other. So I did a project with Judy Ledgerwood that was extended over about 7 months of monotypes that were made with watercolor. And I would ship the plates to her. She would work on them with watercolor, let them dry, ship them back to me, and I would print them and then send them back to her to sign. That was one of the big projects I did. I think there's about 25 or 30 prints from that. And then, let's see, Matt McGee, who was an artist I had never worked with before, and I've still actually never met. But we decided that we wanted to work. He was interested in working with me. I really liked his work and had been following him and his work online. And so we did a remote project, a series of 3 aquatints. And he's actually coming to Chicago next month, and we're going to meet finally.
Can we convince him to come to Baltimore?
I don't know. He lives in Arizona. So,
Oh,
anyways,
ew.
but so I have those. And then the first in person project that I did after COVID was to have Anna Kuntz come into the studio. And that was the end of last summer. She did a series of monotypes. And there's a new project that I've been working on for the last year and a half, I'd say, with Kate Petley, who lives in Colorado. There's a series of mono prints that involve photogravure and relief printing. And I was printing them in the last several weeks and then sent them to her to sign. They were supposed to arrive back here today. So anyway, there's all this new work that has never actually been seen in person. And so I'm excited to get them in front of people, because that's the exciting thing about going to a fair is that you actually get to interact with people and you get to show them and talk about the work and have a personal interaction with them, and they get to have a personal interaction with the work, and that's important.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's right.
yeah.
Can you tell the listeners how an artist gets to work with you? Is it very, can people send you stuff?
Sometimes I generally like to pick the people that I work with, and I don't really have a formula. I think what it's come down to is usually there's an artist whose work I'm interested in that I see in person, or these days I see people's work on Instagram and various places, and then I'll follow that person and see just how that work is developing, and then if I get a sense of if that person's work, if can make would make a good print, or I get an idea about like, oh, we could try this and that and make a print, and then I'll sit on that and digest it for a while. And I actually have a list on my wall here of artists who are in that category, people I'm thinking about. I won't list any names at this point, but I just contacted one of them last week, and we're going to start working together in the fall. And so I think it's largely based, on my taste, because I spend months working with the artist or on the artist's work. And then we have like this pile of prints, and then it's like a long-term relationship, really.
And
So
you have to believe in it to sell it, really.
believe in it, and I don't want to do something that with somebody that I don't think I'm gonna. I have to get a sense that we're going to get along and like each other. I think that's important, and I really need to really, yeah, believe in the work and like the work a lot. And then sometimes people do contact me. I've had one artist who just walked up to me at an art fair, and I actually hate it when artists do that and say, "Oh, you know, I'd love to work with you." But it turned out to be really good. We did work together, and we've worked together, I think, 4 times, 4 different projects now over the years. I think Matt McGee, in his case, I had been following his work and very interested in his work, and then he was the one who reached out and said, "I'd really like to work with you." And I said, "I'd really love to work with you." So there, yes. So that's generally how it works.
Okay. I'd like to get a feel for how everybody feels about being approached, and maybe
Sure.
we should have stickers made like don't don't talk to me about it, or please tell me who you are.
The other thing is, and I think sometimes artists don't realize it, is that even if I love the work, I love the artist, I still have to be able to sell the artwork. So I always, the part of the calculus then is, I've checked off the boxes. Yes, I like the artist's work. Yes, I think we could make really great prints together. Yes, I like this person. But, there's also got to be that box of, can I sell it, and does it kind of fit into the program, the other artists and the other work that Manneken Press has produced. So that's the other part of it. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Well, I for one can't wait to see you in Baltimore.
I'm excited, see, I was in Baltimore at the old Baltimore Print Fair in 2013, I think.
It was
I think
12, yeah.
2013. 12?
Hmm.
Okay. It was a long time ago.
It was.
But that was great. It was a great experience.
Good,
And
I'm glad.
um, I loved the audience that came to that fair because it was really across the board. It brought in, there were museum curators from DC and around, um, that region, and they're just like the people collect. There's a strong collector base, and people were very interested and knowledgeable about prints. And I had great conversations. People came to buy as opposed to just to look or whatever. Which is, both of those are fine, but I love it when people buy something too. But anyway, I had always wanted to come back to Baltimore, so I'm thrilled to with the prospect of coming. So
Excellent. I'm glad we could make it happen because, boy, it's been a dream of mine to bring it back for 5 years.
I think it's going to be a great group of.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Anne.